Great morning, holy brothers! Thank you so much for joining us on our pathway to peace inside the Garden of Peace. If you're following along, we're on page 133, and today's lesson is called Intense Intimacy. What does that really mean? What does that look like? What should it look like in our perspective? Everybody's off camera. Wave hello. He's over there. Oh, you heard him too. Okay, here we go. Buckle up. Pedal to the metal. Loving, warm, affectionate treatment before physical union is of paramount, prime, intensely important to a wife. Rav Shalom Arush of blessed memory wrote, physical intimacy is a powerful bribe, but a wife is not deceived by such. On the contrary, during physical contact, she can sense with pain if there's not yet any spiritual closeness. If the act is only being used for animalistic desires to fulfill those lusts, she is going to know, and she is not going to appreciate it. For this, we have to know that a physical union is the peak, the highest, most intense intimacy there could be. But every peak is a journey and must be trod until one reaches it. Physical intimacy void, lacking of spiritual closeness, is extremely offensive to them. Women look to spiritual intimacy and consideration, and that is what they love. When she receives such royal treatment, then the wife herself will desire to also have much more intimate physical intimacy, because it comes along with the entire package. But if it's lacking all the rest of the stuff that she wants, it's going to be a big problem, holy brother. But if her husband does not show her true consideration and care and constant closeness of the mind, of the soul, then she will feel deeply, downright disgusted at the thought of being together with him. Physical closeness that does not flow from closeness of the mind and closeness of the heart and soul is degrading and painful to them. They really want to be one, united together. Rav Eliezer above teaching is the foundation for successful relations. Spiritually, one's true love and respect of your wife is very conducive to good livelihood. Talk about money. You want to get massive moolah. What is the key to get blessed exponentially and to have tons flow your way? It is through the woman. True love is the result of a husband's concern for his wife and not for his own lustful desires, whether you're looking out for yourself or you're looking out for her, as well as his recognition of her as a cherished person and not a mere vehicle or an object, God forbid, to fulfill his own desires. If a wife wants her husband to be connected, she will want him to be with her. She's not merely just a body, but a vibrant soul that thrives on that closeness, on that intimacy, on that attention, on that affection, on that communication, consideration, respect, and love of the two souls binding together. A husband, it says in Torah, that when they're together is da'as. It is a combination, a knowledge, a oneness of two coming together, not just on a physical level. A husband that focuses on his own physical gratification is not providing and giving to his wife any of the emotional and spiritual gratification, which is the basis of her vitality to begin with. The Hebrew term for the wife's conjugal rights is called ona, which literally translates not as sex, not as togetherness, but as her time, ona, her time. The true fulfillment of this obligation requires way more than just a minute of a physical act alone. A husband should only fulfill this mitzvah if he succeeds in making his wife feel that he truly cares for her, that he truly loves her, and that he makes her the top number one highest priority. He accomplishes this by letting her know how much she means to him. By what? By being compassionate to her, by listening to her when she wants to tell him a ridiculously long, unimportant story that she's just yapping her out. But you make her feel that she's important, that what she has to say is meaningful to you, and by praising her for all that she is and all that she does, by expressing so much more glorified gratitude to her. These are the steps that leads up to the magnificent mountain of intense intimacy. And at the very peak is the top, the highest of the physical union, and that itself must be imbued and transfused with love and care for her and the desire to bond with her as a person, who she is, what she's inside, not just her externalities, not just the physical body and shell. The act of physical union does not fulfill an essential spiritual and emotional need for a wife, except when it serves as a means for her to experience her husband's love for her. That's the way that he can express it and show what everything else that he's been doing means. If love is missing, there is nothing in it for her. She doesn't have a need. She doesn't have a deep burning desire for just an act itself. That's the way the husband has more of it. Generally, women are tired in the evening. Women are working at home and are pleased to rest at home and drop down and go to shluff at the end of the day. They want a book, they want to cuddle, whatever it might be. But for them to have to go work, for them to have to be involved in more physical actions, they just want to be left alone. What are you doing? What are you bothering me for? Leave me alone. You already got it. Why are you asking me for it again? Intimacy that will recharge her spiritual and emotional batteries is worth that effort. An empty, in her eyes, shell, an animalistic act to relieve her husband's pent-up frustration, to relieve his lust, scores extremely low on her list of priorities. Her need is solely for the spiritual closeness that intimacy can bring about between them when it's done in a right way, in a proper manner. When a husband is lustful or he knows that he's struggling with his own personal holiness, whenever he is approaching his wife in that way for intimacy, he should determine, he should stop and think, is he coming to fulfill the mitzvah, the obligation, the commandment of her time, or is he trying to fulfill his time? If he's approaching his wife without any intention of expressing his real love for her or wanting to make her happy, he is most likely coming to fulfill his time. It's all about me right now. It's not about giving. It's about me taking what I want at what time I want it, which is definitely not a mitzvah, and his wife will pick up on it. This can set off a negative cycle of events, as we'll discuss later on. The more a husband focuses on giving to his wife and guarding his own personal holiness to the best of his ability, the more Hashem will help him to fulfill the mitzvah properly and help him to live in true peace and absolute love with his wife. In summary, physical proximity does not mean the type of togetherness that a wife longs for. A wife needs to be loved in her entirety, of her soul, of her mind, and of her body. If a husband is blemished in the area of Kedusha, in the area of personal holiness, he will not succeed in connecting to his wife's soul. But the more he enhances his personal holiness, the more he guards his eyes, the more he doesn't look at things that he shouldn't, the more he doesn't involve in talking to people that he should not for no reason if it's completely unnecessary, then the more his wife will be enamored by him, and she will long for him much more. If he's doing what he wants, physically, not physically, but spiritually, and puts his physical needs aside and focuses on giving to his wife in the right areas, then he will have so much more of wanting what he wants, because she's going to come to be with him when he does it properly, and God will ensure that he has so much more peace in the home, and that his wife acts in a much more appropriate manner that's going to be more loving towards him, because he is loving in the right way towards her. And with that, have an awesome, graciously amazing rest of your day. Dun, da, da, da.